The land of dreams has now become the land of debt. We are talking about the United States of America, a country that is increasingly relying on debt to finance its expenses. President Joe Biden is already in the election campaign mode. He is announcing new projects, policies, and initiatives to impress the voters. But where will the money come from? Last week, Biden unveiled one of the biggest budgets in US history, an eye-popping $6.9 trillion. Dear Americans, this budget will not make you prosperous or wealthier. It will push your generations to come under the heavy burden of debt and a financial tsunami. Hi and welcome, you're watching Outright. We tell you the right side of the story. Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for such outright videos. Is power bigger than the country itself? You ask this question to Joe Biden and you might get an answer in positive. His $6.9 trillion budget explains it all. Winning elections for him is more important than fixing the US economy. Biden is planning to spend trillions of dollars on his socialist policies. The military budget for the next fiscal year stands at a whopping $835 billion. That might satiate the needs of the military-industrial complex, but for the US economy, it is deadly. The only problem with this budget is that it will pile debts of trillions of dollars on American citizens. So let us simplify the data for you. Currently, the US national debt stands at $31.5 trillion. Over the next 10 years, America's national debt will balloon by $20 trillion. In total, it will breach the $50 trillion debt ceiling. But how will it impact the common American citizens, you might ask? Well, the portion of debt held by the American public would jump $19 trillion to $43.6 trillion over the next 10 years. It will nearly get doubled. And here is the more gloomy picture for you. Let's look at this trajectory. As per estimates, the US debt will reach a staggering 200% of the US GDP within the next 25 years. I'm really sorry I'm making this video too data heavy, but again we have to highlight the data to put things into perspective. And now let's take a look at how experts are viewing this budget. Maya McGuinness, president of the Non-Partisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, called this budget excessive. She said, at $6.9 trillion, spending next year would be higher than any time during the pandemic and about $2.5 trillion above the pre-pandemic level, representing growth of 55%. And there is a common economic principle. If you inject an insane amount of money into your economy, the inflation problem gets worsened. The cost of living goes up. Americans will either starve or there will happen a mass exodus of Americans to Europe, to the Caribbean, or maybe Asia. But here is one silver lining. The budget may never get to see the light of the day. It is set to face hurdles in Congress. The House of Representatives is now controlled by the grand old party, Republicans, and GOP is demanding spending cuts.
That the entire federal budget in 2019, just a few short years ago, was $4.4 trillion. President Biden wants to more than double that. $4.4 trillion to $10 trillion. Well, Mr. President, this level of spending and the accompanying level of debt would present a serious danger for our financial stability going forward. The President's budget all but ensures that the size of our national debt would be larger than the size of our economy. In other words, we would owe more money than our entire economy produces. And these levels of spending could easily prolong our inflation crisis for years to come.
So what is the way forward? The first thing US must do is to bring down the expenses. Do not overspend. It is time for Biden to get out of the election campaign mentality and work to fix the fundamentals of the US economy. His counterparts in Europe are already calling his administration incompetent over the SVB collapse. So the ball is in Biden's court, whether he chooses to correct his mistakes and rethink his fiscal policies, or he walks his country down the path of devastation, poverty, and instability.